Bam, bada, bam, bam, bam. Yes, we're back again, and the Vinyl Vandals are cheap. We haven't got a proper sort of intro to come into it, so that's be bam, bada, bam, bam, bam. That's going to now be our theme tune to start these shows off. This is the Vinyl Vandals' favorite five, and I'm your host, King Fred. I'll tell you a bit more about the Vinyl Vandals and myself in a minute, but I'm going to pass you on to my colleague down below me here, who's going to introduce himself.
Hello, Riddler, Vinyl Vandals resident DJ. Got the radio show Monday nights, Method Radio, 7 till 8. Record collector, you can't see them now because we've got a little homage to the person who's with it tonight, and I'd like to welcome.
Yeah, Dave Pyestar. What am I? Graph artist, entrepreneur, small time, MC, old B-boy, all sorts. Oh, he's got the mug as well. Look.
Yeah.
I haven't even got one. I'd have put my drink in one, but I haven't got one.
Nice one. Okay. Yes, so who are the Vinyl Vandals? If you haven't been watching these shows, then you're very, very naughty because you should have been watching these shows. But if you haven't, just a quick little history. Vinyl Vandals are me, King Fred, DJ Riddler, John, and Julie. We're four friends from Newcastle upon Tyne who love our hip-hop music and more importantly, our hip-hop culture. We don't just like the music, we like the social aspect of hip-hop. We like the community aspect of hip-hop. We like to go to shows together. We like to go and eat together, drink together, and socialize together. We've liked hip-hop for a long, long time in all its aspects. Obviously, I think it's fair to say we lean a lot more towards the music side of it than anything else. But it's not to say we don't appreciate the hip-hop culture. So the B-boy, B-girls, the graffiti stuff, entrepreneur stuff, and the community aspect of it as well. We like it all, but we mainly like the hip-hop music. And what we always seem to do, like a lot of hip-hop fans worldwide, is have little friendly arguments about why we like this one more than something else. So this album's better than that album. But he's a better producer. Oh no, but she's a better MC than this one. All of that, we like to do that constantly. We decided to start recording it because of lockdown. We just decided to carry it on, even though we're out of lockdown now, but we're still under, obviously, restrictions. We can't do the movement that we'd like to do. And also, it was helping with our mental health, supporting each other through it all. And we're strong champions of mental health. We want to make sure that we look after each other, making sure that, if we're stuck in the house and we're locked in a bedroom or whatever it is, that we can still have time to be able to touch base with each other, make sure everybody's okay. And that helps by not just sort of concentrating on making sure you're okay, but having something to talk about when we are doing that. So springboard the favorite five, which is where we ask people, friends, people that we talk to on the internet, rappers, DJs, whoever who like hip-hop, to talk about their favorite five hip-hop, and we'll ask them to choose either side of the pond, either pick the favorite five UK or the favorite five USA. If you've got something to talk about and you want to speak to us, please let us know that you want to be on the show, and we'll be happy to have you on. You don't have to be a famous rapper, a famous graffiti artist, just as long as you've got a passion for hip-hop like we have. That's all we ask. So it's not just about the stars. It's about anybody who likes hip-hop. Okay, so we'd love to have you on the show. So if you've got something to talk about your hip-hop history, if you're living in somewhere like Skegness and there's a hip-hop history about Skegness, we want to hear about that as well. So it's not just about the favorite five records, it's hearing about your hip-hop history, of where you bought records from, where you get them from now, what shows you went to, what you've done to see a hip-hop show, all of that. Yeah. So Riddler's told you he's got a show on every Monday night. Me and John have also got a little monthly thing that we've started doing on Method Radio, which is just like a sort of like a little themed mix thing that we do for an hour once a month. Nothing technical or anything, and no cutting and scratching. We just pick our favorite tunes for an hour and just let them, and just share them with whoever wants to listen to them. Okay, and we also like to do stuff like we like to put on shows. So our good friend down in Darlington, James Watson's got a show coming up. He's trying to put hip-hop, like socially distanced hip-hop back on, because he runs a venue down there. And just lots of other things that we've got going on as well. shout out to Sandy as well, because Sandy puts things on as well, and he runs Method Radio, and lots of other friends. We've got our friend Leroy as well, who does the Tiffany Sidewalk show as well. So just, shout out to them as well, because they're all trying to do their thing. Okay, on to our special guest, who is Mr. Pyestar. Yeah, is that that's how you say it? Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. And you picked your favourite 5 today. On which side of the pond have you went for today? Do you want to tell everybody where that is? Which side you picked?
Which what? Sorry.
Which side of the pond you picked? Have you picked USA or you picked UK?
I've picked USA, yeah.
You picked USA.
More to choose from.
Was it easy to do? Was it easy to do?
No, it's a bloody nightmare. I did, Shan Duke.
Yeah.
Wants to do the top 10 12s, and oh my God, man. I think it was the top 10, top 20. That must have took me about a month, I think. I was shuffling them about here. It's hard, isn't it?
It is. I mean, we do want to in the future do a favourite 5 12s as well. But I think we're trying to just gradually let ourselves into that, because I think that'll be really difficult in itself. So for now,
album collector more than because I don't DJ.
Yeah, same here. I'm exactly the same as you.
Me, I'm a listener, so albums will because you ain't got much money to spend on it.
Yeah.
Again, spending £5 on a 12-inch to me was like, whoa, I'll get more value for money for £9.50 or £8.50, whatever it was for an album.
Exactly the same for me. Yeah, definitely an album, dude. More than it's only been in the last sort of few years that I bought more 12 inches because I've been seeing them cheaper and stuff, and I've been going like digging with Riddler and people like that when we've been going around record fairs and places like that and buying them second hand. So I'm just catching up, and it's funny because I'm listening to them. Like when Riddler DJs, I'm like, oh, I've never heard that version before, and it's like I've never heard it because it's a 12-inch. I've only ever heard the album version. Do you know what I mean? I think Riddler was playing one the other night. It was Skinny Man.
Years ago.
What's that? Sorry.
I said that's the only reason I'd buy a 12 years ago was if it had some amazing remix or something you haven't got.
Yeah. So I think Riddler, you were playing Skinny Man the other day. I was like, oh, I've never heard that before. Because I've never heard that version because I've only got the album version. The F the Hook one.
Yeah.
But actually, I have heard it. I've got the 12-inch. I didn't even realise. I looked through the other day. I've got it. I didn't even realise. I just don't play it. Do you know what I mean? Because I've only just got my records players set up recently. You know what I mean? So I haven't been playing a lot of my stuff because it's been stuck in my dad's loft for years because I never had record players. You know what I mean? Never had the space till I moved into this house. Okay, so from that, let's go to your first selection, please. Which one's your first album that you want to talk about?
That'd be Skinny Boys' first album, Weightless.
Right, okay. Skinny Boys, right, okay. Riddler, have you got a copy there or not? No?
I haven't got a copy of that. I have got it, and I looked for it, and I just cannot find it.
No 12 inches either?
I found the second album.
Okay.
I found the second album. Come on, the first.
I know.
I've got to admit,
box on 12, but
I've got to admit, I do know about the Fat Boys, but I know nothing about the Skinny Boys. I've only ever seen them in magazines, picture of them. I know nothing about the Skinny Boys at all. I just thought they were a bit of a joke because I thought it was like a sort of like a contrast to the Fat Boys, and that's where my knowledge of the Skinny Boys. I couldn't even name a song by them. So, do you want to tell us a bit about the Skinny Boys, Dave, please?
They're proper old school crew, really. It does sound a bit of a joke name, doesn't it? After you've had the Fat Boys, but in a way, especially the first. Well, I don't know. All the first 3 albums were killer, but I don't know. They're quite heavy and hard compared to the Fat Boys. I thought it was
agree,
much heavier sound. That's why I like that first album. It's so I love that 85, 86 hard beat sort of sound, and especially like Rip the Cut and Awesome and that, they had that crunching sound to them.
Okay.
It's loud, it's quite rowdy.
Is it? Right, okay. Like I say, I know nothing about them. So when I reference the Fat Boys there, who was out first then? Was it the Skinny Boys or was it the Fat Boys? Did the
Fat Boys definitely the Fat Boys, yeah.
What, the Fat Boys were first?
Fat Boys were first, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
probably because in music at that time it was quite there was a lot of piss taking and follow-ons from other people's. So the name probably did come from. Right. I imagine I don't know, but it probably did just come from another version of the Fat Boys because they were skinny.
Right. Okay.
Nothing like the Fat Boys whatsoever, did they?
Right. Interesting, because I never
gone.
checked them. I never checked them out. Because I just thought they were just a joke from the Fat Boys, so I never got
You
to
definitely
actually
need to
check them out.
listen.
What's that?
You definitely need to check them.
No, we'll check them out. Like, you know, I think this is the beauty of the favorite five as well. I think it's made me go and check stuff out I've never checked before because of that. And when we're on the subject, one of the ones that you chose, I checked out this afternoon. And you know, I can't wait for you to talk about that because I was like, oh, this is quite good. How have I missed these? Because someone else I've missed as well. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So your hip hop history. How did Mr. Pyestar get into hip hop? What was the sort of like your hip hop history? And where you from? Where do you live? All of that.
In Droitwich, near Worcester, small town.
Right.
But Worcester's the nearest city. It's only like 7 miles down the road. So we used to get out.
For somebody like me who knows what Worcester is, I've heard of Worcester because of the sauce. But apart from that, I don't know where in the country where is
we live
Worcester.
by the sauce factory. Yeah, we're about 25 miles from Birmingham.
Right. Okay. So it's Midlands, Worcester, yeah.
Down a bit, yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. So your hip hop history then.
Mate played me in. Well, I did a bit on telly, I suppose. So I was sort of like a little mob before.
Right.
Into my soul and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, what did he? It was Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, or probably The Message or Step Off. I think was playing to me, and just got on it from there. And you know, with the b-boy thing, saw that at the same time. He was like, "Oh, let's get into this new thing," and that was it.
So were you breakdancing? Did you have the line when the ghetto blaster?
Yeah, we did all that. Yeah, first tape. So I'm not sure when you can't nail down exactly the time you got into it, can you?
Yeah, no.
But it was either going by the recordings we had. We had been late '84, early '85.
Right.
Electro 4 was our first tape. We got someone to tape for us.
Okay.
4 and 5, which a lot of my favourite records still of that era are off those first two tapes that I had.
Right. Okay. It's like, you know, obviously I'm older, so I didn't have, you know, all that electro stuff that was around. But actually I was just getting into sort of like community work and youth work at that time. So I was working with kids who were wanting to breakdance, and I was letting them come into, because I used to run a community centre and have a boxing gym in there, and I used to let some of the younger ones come in and breakdance when the boxing wasn't on in the sports hall. And I was listening to some of that stuff. I was like, okay, it's all right, but it wasn't really for me. It was when you know, like the Grandmaster Flash and that type of stuff, when that started coming out, as opposed to sort of like the electro-y stuff. I could appreciate it, and I used to listen to it, and I used to have tapes because the kids used to give us it, but I wasn't really into it, so I never really bought anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, see, I mean, I did like the electro stuff, but on the electro albums, it's like my favourite on Electro 4 is Pumpkin and the Profile All Stars with Run DMC on. That was more the hip hop side of it than the electro side.
Okay.
That's what got me, really.
Nice one. Okay. We'll come back to your hip hop history, but if we could have your next record, please. So what's your next? Sorry, before we go to that, keep us right, Riddler.
What's your favourite record off the Skinny Boys album?
It actually took a bit of picking this, because a few of them did, to be honest, but I don't know, because I taped pretty much that whole album off John Peel. It's from the days when he used to sit there and pause mix off John Peel. That was the only radio show we could get here. And he almost played that whole album. I had pretty much the whole album pause taped off John Peel.
Yeah.
So my favourites would come off there, but I'm going to go for the title tune of Weightless, I think. It's between that and Rip the Cut.
Yeah, okay. I like Rip the Cut. That's a good one.
Have you played that before, Riddler, Rip the Cut? I'm sure I've heard that before. I'm sure you've heard you talking about it.
I might have. You definitely would have heard. It's not on this album. It's on the second album, Get Pepped.
Right.
You definitely would have heard that.
That's the third album.
Is that the third album, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I love that as well. I love that tune.
I tell you who they done a track with, Fred, what you might know, We Papa Girl Rappers.
Okay, cool.
They've done a track with them as well. I can't recall what it's called at the minute.
Right.
But they've definitely done one with them. But yeah, Rip the Cut for me. I like that one. It's very it's got a lot of beatbox on it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's another thing I love about it, because
yeah,
it got all of it. You got a bit of DJing, bit of beatbox, heavy rhyming, hard beats, and the production was just a little bit different to other things.
Okay.
They actually used bass, didn't they? Where
a
lot of the bass came off beats, whereas the Skinny Boys actually had bass lines on it.
Right.
It's interesting that you said like you got a lot of your tunes off John Peel. I think he's very underrated in
just going to say that right now.
In the hip hop scene in the UK, because everybody talks about Mike Allen.
Yeah.
Westwood.
Yeah.
Which is, people like that is like innovators on the radio for hip hop, but like Dave says, John Peel, I mean, the sessions he had on there, I'm sure he had Overload X on an early session.
Cookie Crew in 1983.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I heard their one that they did in 85, 86, and then talking to Susie, she bought some stuff off me, and their first session was 1983. They did a 3-tap session that's all on electro.
But I think what's important about Peel to me is that obviously he did that for punk as well and new wave stuff beforehand, which is my jump off with John Peel, because my brother used to listen to John Peel. My brother's 5 or 6 years older than me, and he used to listen to John Peel before me, because he was listening to like rock stuff on there and that, and like sort of like left field stuff. And then obviously I used to listen to John Peel with me TDK and me pause button, like you were saying, and I think that was my jump off into sort of like hip hop as well, because I always say this: we didn't get as much hip hop up here on the radio living up in Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? So when Westwood and them were doing their stuff, I used to have to rely on family down in London giving me tapes, or me going down there and getting tapes of Westwood shows and stuff like that. So Westwood's not as important to me in the early years as people like John Peel. I got more of John Peel than I ever did of people like Westwood and the other ones that people talk about, like Mike Allen and people like that. I don't really know them, to be honest, because
we got Mike Allen here on the local radio. They bought it. I'd never heard of Westwood, only like a couple of bits in magazines, but never heard of Westwood show till a lot later. And Mike Allen was picked up by our local Worcester radio station in late 86, early 87. It was the first time I heard Mike Allen shows. And that was like a godsend. Then you ain't got to listen to all the other crap. You could just listen to it.
So it is interesting, because obviously, for me anyway, my sort of like understanding of hip hop and all of that, I'm not as romantic as about some of those guys down in London as other people are, because it was sort of like it was somewhere else compared to where I was getting my stuff from. I probably know more about American stuff in the mixtapes that were coming from there than I did about stuff down the road. You know what I mean? Because of that. So anyway, yes, let's move on. Next album.
Bloody forgot now. It's King T, Act a Fool.
King T.
That not just trying to be different with that one at all. I love that album. That is one of my all-time favourite albums.
Again. Yeah. Okay.
I did find mine out as well, but.
So what's some of his?
That was an easy to find one, because I knew where it was.
Right. What's some of his favourite stuff, famous stuff, even if it's not off that album? Name some records by him.
That's the big one.
Go on.
And there was
bass.
Loads bass. Oh yeah, the remix bass 12 is I don't like the album. That's one of the weakest ones on the album, I think.
Yeah.
The actual. He did. Was it 4?
But that was a big video on MTV, wasn't it? That one, bass.
Yeah. That's where I first heard bass. Someone recorded me an MTV video, and that was on there, and it was amazing.
Like some of his old
actually played back some other as well. That's where I first heard that.
Okay, so
a different label, didn't it? On first, it was on Techno Hot.
Why is that album so important to you then?
I don't know. It's a bit different. He was a really good storyteller.
Yeah.
Got the funk now, and it's pretty much made of really nice meters breaks and some change and it just had that nice total sound to it. Really clean MC as well. Really, really clean. He's one of them MCs to me that he doesn't sound complicated. It sounds quite simple.
Yeah.
Because he does it so cleanly. Whereas actually the rhyming structure that King T used was actually quite complicated.
Okay.
It's a bit like a LA Slick Rick, I suppose, to me.
Right.
Bits of production and the DJ as well was good. DJ Pooh, Joe Cooley.
Yeah.
Again, it's somebody I don't really know much about, to be honest. I've heard of him, heard some bits and pieces, but I've never really checked them out. So he's somebody else I need to check out.
He was on a lot of the alcoholic stuff later on.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That was like his. They were sort of his underlings, the alcoholics.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's on Trifling album. That's when they're first sort of heard, isn't it? On King T's Trifling album, his third album.
Okay. Has he done something with Ice Cube before as well? West Side Connection stuff. Has he got something to do with that at some point? Or?
No.
He did some stuff with Dre that never came out that did surface later.
There's another song, I'm sure, where it says King T, where he gets introduced. I thought it was with Ice Cube in the West Side Connection. I might be wrong, but it's something like that.
Might be.
It's something.
He's done a good tune called "Played Like a Piano."
Right. Yeah, that was off second album.
Yeah, that's a good tune. But
he did one later on called "Dipping" that was really nice. 12, and then must have been about 97, 98. Did some work with Dre, and that was quite good as well.
Okay.
But it's a bit like Rakim's. Something happened and it never
came out. Yeah, that'd be Dre. Dre never wants to let anything out, does he?
Nah.
I just love the cover. If you see that,
that is part of it as well, and that cover's just so good.
I mean, obviously it's called "Act a Fool," and he's about to act a fool because you can't really see it there, but he's got a pump action shotgun at the side of him, so he's about to
do something.
Either go and do some crime or.
He wasn't really gangster either, was he? He sort of had that cheeky gangsterisms about him, but he didn't talk proper gang stuff and that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it before? It's before NWA, isn't it? It says 1988, yeah. So it might have came out about the same time.
I think Payback Some Other came out before, didn't it? That was 87, I think.
Yeah.
When that first came out, the 12-inch. And then the album dropped about maybe even a year later. Okay. So I also love that 12 he did with Mixmaster Spade. That's on the big side, isn't it? The oh God, what's that called now? Do you know the one I mean? Better Bring a Gun. It's King T.
Oh yes, yeah. Better Bring a Gun, yes.
That's on a real nice meters break again.
No, never heard anything like I couldn't recite anything by him or anything like that. As I say, he's on my list to check out because the list is getting longer as I speak to more and more people on this. But that's what makes it good as well because I don't really buy any new stuff, so it's nice to be able to go back and find stuff that I missed the first time round and add it to my collection. So I enjoy that. So what's your favourite song of that album?
Payback Some Mother, first one.
Payback Some Mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful tune.
Cool. Okay, back to
your bass, I like bass.
Back to your hip hop history.
It'd be bass if it was the remix that's on the 12. Bass would probably be my favourite album.
Yeah. It says on the album bass remix. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Back to your hip hop history. So you were saying that you were getting into your music. Did you then, from getting into it, and did you say you were b-boying and that and getting into all of that, and were you doing graffiti as well?
Probably about a year after getting into the b-boy thing, started doodling graffiti and stuff. But we hadn't seen that so much really here.
Yeah.
It was more when that Street Scene magazine came out that Morgan Khan put out, and then remember the beat. I think that was 86, wasn't it? And we had like some Mode 2 stuff and Artful Dodger stuff was in there.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. My first piece of graffiti I ever did was a copy of the TDK, not TDK, Chrome Angels style piece that was in that book, and I copied it all in envelope tips. And
okay.
I think that's how a lot of graffiti artists start.
Yeah.
I mean, the first ones I saw in Newcastle, going along like the railway lines to the coast, was one of them was, it had Luke, L-O-O-K, but it had the I's in the middle. I'm sure that's it's a rip off of an American one, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out, while we're talking about trains in all the way down the coast, Riddler. Shout out to Mr. Z.
Oh yeah, Mr. Z.
Yeah, one of the original ones from Newcastle area, from the northeast. Mr. Z. Mr. Z, sorry, Mr. Z, you know. Yeah. Okay. So when we're talking about your hip hop history, did any chance did you decide to pick up a mic or grab the decks? What was your thing?
Yeah, that was a lot later on, probably.
A lot later on? Okay.
1990, 91. First time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's when I met up with my later crew, sort of thing. But
okay.
Yeah, that was later. Used to beatbox. Everyone used to beatbox when you used to boys and that.
Okay. So what was your let's spring forward to 91. Then what were you doing in 91 to start your? What crew was that?
That's a subcon crew.
Subcon crew.
Subcon. Subliminal Control was the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to give any shout outs to who was in that? Who was with?
And yeah, King One, Fever, Z-Rock, Jedi. We had loads of names. But we used to have two MCs. Then Jedi also MCs, but he's one of the best DJs I've ever met, sort of thing. And we had 3 DJs and 2 MCs. We were like a backwards crew. Had more MCs and less DJs. We were the other way around. But we used to play a lot of sound system sort of stuff, and that's where it all came. But we used to do a lot of side rooms when all the raving thing took off.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah.
We'd do side rooms on raves and things like that.
Okay. We'll come back to your hip hop history. We'll go back onto your records again. So you want to pick number 3?
3 would be Godfather Don and Hazardous album. Which is
never ever heard of this before ever.
I've heard of it. I haven't got it. I've got a lot of. I've got some 12s by him. So he's a good MC. He's a really good MC.
Okay. Yeah, that was his first sort of stuff. A lot of people haven't heard that. They've only heard the later 90s Godfather Don, and I suppose after Cenobites came out, Cool Keith. But that album, that one. That's an amazing album as well. Don kills. Really He's amazing as well, an MC and producer, and just nails it, I think.
That's one of your Ultramagnetic MCs there, Fred.
Okay, right.
He also produced one of the Ultramagnetic albums, didn't he?
Yeah, he's on
Godfather Don.
Tunes of Ultras. Don is actually on there.
Yeah.
And featured on quite a lot of stuff as well. He's one of them MCs that he's never been really, in those days he wasn't really well known, and it's like Percy P. He's one of New York's legendary MCs that never really got a proper break.
I think all the
artists loved him.
Shout out to Ken Masters, one of our MCs from up here, one of our well-known, best-known MCs up in the Newcastle area. He was talking about Percy P the other day as well, like you know, giving them high fives about Percy P, because it's somebody else I've never heard of. You know, these are all these MCs in crews that I've just never heard of. So I've got a long list.
Percy P's on the Cenobites that he's just had there as well.
Yeah, he is.
He thinks he's on that. Right.
Cool.
Stretching Bobitos on it as well.
Those 2 came out with styles and influenced a lot of other MCs.
Right.
Without actually getting anywhere themselves. They were like that sort of underground MC that other MCs were taking things from.
Yeah.
And they got more recognition, the 2 who were doing these mad styles were doing.
So who would you reckon, would you say that are well-known MCs that owe some of their sort of their notoriety to these guys like you're talking about? Who would you
I mean, it's like, if you listen to either of those, you can hear a bit of Monch and people like that in there in the styles, and further on, I mean, if you go back and listen to Dom Fred, you'll just hear some of the complexities of his rhyming and that his influence and all that. A lot of that early 90s sort of more complicated rhyming, freestyle fellowship style sort of stuff.
Okay.
They were in there. Percy P. That was that. Let the Homicides Begin. I mean, that came out, was it 88, I think? And if you listen to his style of rhyming on that, Percy P, it's like 2 or 3 years ahead of stuff that it's almost like more abstract than what Kane and people were doing.
Okay.
Don, I don't know. I think Show and AG as well. Their sort of production was influenced by Don.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So back to hip hop history. How well known were you? Were you just known in your area with your crew, or did you record? Did you put anything out? Any vinyl out?
Nah, we were known. We used to do 2 to 4 nights a week in Worcester.
Right.
Like sound system styles, so we just had different instrumentals, and me and Ken would just rhyme over them, dropping that. But then, because we had crew links from the graffiti side in London, and we did a few gigs in London, we used to play in Oxford at a club called the Cellar. That was quite later, I don't know, mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Played in Bristol a few times. So we did do a lot of moving around as well. We're quite well known.
Yeah.
The scene sort of thing. We had connections in Bristol and that as well.
Cool.
So always did that, but we always kept it. We always kept that real hip hop thing, all elements and that, and like it's so I think a lot of people are missing, because I think Riddler's the same. We've always stayed into hip hop. We never got out of it and ran away to raving or anything like that. We always stayed on with hip hop. So when everyone was in that sort of early 90s to late 90s, when it had dropped out a lot, hadn't it? Every the scene died after the 80s. It all took a big dip, and we just kept harping on with it, kept the b-boys there, and kept the craft there, kept it all together. And we were always doing that. And we had some like Tough Tin Twist come down from Liverpool to one of our dudes in Worcester, because at that sort of time, 95, 96, there was nothing going on. On the 4-element hip hop scene, there was nothing going. So we had all sorts of people. We used to. I mean, I carried on that till the other year, and then someone else has taken over that. We did an event called Ill Skills that we used to use for Strats Workshop. Sadly closed this year. COVID's finally killed this struggling place, but they had a really good floor inside. Inside music, big yard, so they'd let us put boards all around and get the graffiti artists down, and we had a lot of people from all over the country, and people just used to turn up like Mia and that, just sort of hadn't been invited, and then we're like, whoa, what's he doing? Things like, where's he come? And then we used to have Juicelim and Mad Flow, DJ Rock One from Birmingham, come down to our things regular and just played for nothing, and always had joined in on the freestyles and things like that. So all good friends with all that lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, COVID and money and cuts and all the rest of it is paying a lot of havoc with, we've just found out that something that's dear to us up here, that Sandy was running, called The Archers. It was at the back of the Sage building in Gateshead. That's just shut its doors, and that's like all the young people that have had somewhere to go. A lot of those young people had nowhere else to go but there to record. And, even if they were never going to be a rapper or a DJ or anything like that, it wasn't about that. It was about having somewhere to go where they not only just learned about DJing and rapping and that type of stuff, but learned life skills and had somewhere where, if they weren't doing that, they would have been in a lot more,
I think that's really, really important, isn't it? That sort of place. It's like when we were kids, that's how I met all my Worcester crew, was because there used to be like City Walls Youth Centre. And they had skate ramps inside, skate ramps outside. They had a pair of decks for the deck room. They'd let you do graffiti, and you could go in there, meet up, do whatever you want. But you got a lot of influence off. There's some really good youth workers that had talked to you about things and that as well. but they also let you sort of, if you said, I can have the keys to a decks room, and then they'd let you up a decks room, you got a mic and decks, because couldn't afford them. And that's where we first did our music, really, was places like that. And met drum and bass DJs and all sorts of people through that as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with artists, isn't it? It's all types of dance music all the way through.
Yeah.
And it was, every time I went in there, it was always busy. They always had time for the young kids, you know. I mean, big up Sandy, big up DJ ADS, Ken Masters, because he helped out there a lot. Claire, I think Claire Sharp helped out a lot there.
Yeah,
big up to them. It's such a shame, you know. And plus, if it wasn't for the artists, we wouldn't have had the big bridge events.
Events.
I mean,
and the ones we had before that, we had Griot there. We had, we had Earthbreak. We had a lot of stuff there over the years that we worked. For my organisation, which is Streetwise Young People's Project, Youth Project. It's great when you're working on the streets. Well, my team are working on the streets with young people in there, and they're able to say, "I want to be a DJ." It's like, well, great to be able to pick up the phone and ring Sandy and the team up and say, "I've got this young person in such and such, like some suburb in Newcastle who wants to be a DJ, wants to be a rapper," and being able to signpost them in there. And that's stopped now. We can't do that. And they used to also come with my team and deliver straight onto the streets, in the parks, take the decks up there, and especially in the summer, and just use a generator and plug it in the field and let young people have the first experience of being on a mic or being on the decks. And that's unfortunately not going to be happening anymore.
It's just really important, isn't it?
And a lot of them
schools like that, we tried to keep the young people involved.
Yeah.
Like the daytime at Ill Skills, it was always like kids could come and have a go on decks, kids could come and have a go on a mic. They could ask one of us to teach them some dancing or do a bit of graph. And a lot of time it's the kids that behave bad that want to do that. So if you don't give them that, they go down a nasty route.
Yeah.
That's what I was just about to say. A lot of them were like troublemakers. And once Sandy got them into the place, told them how to go on with the decks, the mics, making the beats on the computers, on the drum machines, it changed their lives. Changed their lives totally around.
And it's not just some of those people were socially awkward, don't fit in other places. I've had young people that are like asylum seekers, refugees. They've went through there. Lots of people that wouldn't normally have a place to be able to sort of vent their sort of their talents, or didn't know they had those talents. For whatever reason, lots of different people. So it's not just one. It wasn't just one type of young person. There was all kinds of young people went through there. There's one day that Sandy had done something for my project, and I went to pick these graffiti boards up that they'd been working on, and there was these young lads there, and you could see there were young lads that Sandy was working with that they were looking me up and down, and I was like, "Whoa, easy lads," type of thing. Sandy appears from out of his office, and Sandy had the meeting out of his hands. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was no way. The respect that were given Sandy was beautiful to watch. Do you know what I mean? Because the respect of what Sandy had to say. There was one time I think Sandy's place got broken into. He put out a shout out on Facebook to say, "Where's my stuff?" Got it straight back. That's what you want. Do you know what I mean? That's something in your community. He was able to stop people going and graffitiing on like statues and public buildings. Because he would just pass the word out within the community and within the graph community. Don't do that, and it would happen. So they've lost something major there. I don't want to dwell on about it. We're going to move on now. But it's sad. It's sad that that's happening, not just in Newcastle and Gateshead, but right across the country. It's very, very sad. So back to the music. Number 4. What's your fourth album choice?
I don't know which one to do next. Actually, I'll go with the Freestyle Fellowship, Inner City Riots.
Now, I have this album on CD, but I do have it. And it's probably the only one that you've mentioned that I've actually that I know of. So speak away.
I don't know. I'm one of them people. I like something different all the time. I get bored of that same sound. That's why now I think a lot of stuff sounds stale because it's just rechurning. When that album by Freestyle Fellowship dropped, it was just totally new, and you got all the MCs sound different, but they've all got something totally new as well, and they fit so well together. Just love it, amazing, absolutely. To this day, I can't skip a moment of that album. I put it on, I play it from end to end. Can't fault it. And just incredible MC skills, nice production,
cool
subjects all over the place. And it had, at that time, I thought some of the, I don't know, that original funk hip hop sound had gone a little bit.
Yeah.
And slowed down a lot, and they just came with that energy and got life to it.
It's very different, isn't it? Like you say, it's very different from a lot of stuff that was sort of like around, you know. I was getting pushed anyway. I'm not saying I wasn't around, but there was stuff that was getting pushed. They definitely sort of, like you say, pushed the boundary in another direction compared to what was being pushed at the time, which I found really interesting. And I never got into them originally straight away. It's been more recent years that I've got into them. I always say this, I'm sure I've said this on some of these recordings before, but the stuff that I used to listen to, I do still listen to some of it, but some of it I can't anymore as I've got older. And that's where bands like the Freestyle Fellowship have filled that void, because it's just something I'm like, whoa, how have I missed this the first time round? This is really, really, really good. I knew it was there, I'd heard it, thought it was all right, but never really sort of got into it. And then now I'm really into it, you know.
As you get older, I think you appreciate the musical beauty of things more, don't you? And it's like you're not just listening to a sound, you pick it, oh my God, that's, you can just, I think as you get older, just like now, I listen to more funk and soul and that than I did. I prefer a lot of the time you'd find me listening to the breaks that they made the tunes out of rather than listening to the original hip hop, whereas something like Freestyle Fellowship, it's complex enough and you can listen to it over and over and over again and nearly every that's another thing with me, the music. I like to hear something new all the time, even though you've listened to it before. If every time you listen to it you hear one extra little thing, it's music like that you can't beat.
You're right, definitely. And that's such a good album. That's such a good album by them. To be honest, I've only checked that album out by them. I'm doing what other stuff they've got out, and I should then go out and check other stuff by them, but that's the only thing I've checked out by them.
They had an album before that's good. It's still, it's a lot rawer. They tend to, not all of them are on every track. It's more their own individual. It's more like a compilation of MCs, but called Freestyle Fellowship.
And I think on lockdown, when I started getting into podcasts and listening to interviews and stuff like that, I checked out a documentary about them. About that whole sort of like underground scene.
Project Load stuff.
What was the rapper called? It's called Micah 9 or something like that. Is that right? That was called that?
One's Micah 9.
I was fascinated by it all. I was like, oh, okay, this is completely different.
He's done a lot of stuff through the years as well. AC Alone, and we've actually carried on doing AC Alone's Book of Human Language is just another amazing album. That's in first time I heard anyone do beats with a different time scale to 4/4.
Right. Okay.
And it's just, I think every time they did something, they take it forward a few more steps.
Definitely. Have you got the album, Riddler?
I've got a couple of the 12s. I haven't got the album, I must admit.
Okay.
It's the group that we're on about with Chrome, isn't it?
Yes.
I
think he picked them, didn't he?
They came from that.
Yes.
It was like a cafe sort of scene where they would go to the cafe and they could rap at the cafe.
That's right.
The Good Life Cafe.
Good Life
That's
Cafe.
The one.
Yes.
And you weren't allowed to swear. You weren't allowed to swear on stage.
Right. Where was it?
Had to be a freestyle as well.
That's right. Yeah. Was it in Crenshaw? Was it Crenshaw that they were doing them in? It was somewhere notorious in Los Angeles.
There's a story of Fat Joe turning up there, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Because I watched it
off stage because he was so bad to all these MCs went there. They just, whoa, who's this? Get off.
I think Snoop Dogg went there originally as well. I think Snoop Dogg. I think I watched
and Corrupt, and a lot of those people did.
Yeah. Interesting, just the whole sort of vibe of it, and just how it, you know, and then also the same because I watched, I think, a couple of documentaries about it. One of the documentaries I watched, they did something. There was that one, but they also did something in New York as well that was very similar, and also showed you how they used to rap in the park, doing ciphers in the park, but they got chased off the police. The police sort of broke it down. That the Mayor Giuliani, you know, Donald Trump's pal, he didn't want them meeting, all these black guys meeting in the park, was putting off tourists apparently. So they chased them
They
all.
just thought gangsters in trouble, and
and all it was doing was rapping. They weren't doing anything else but rapping, and that was still too dangerous for them. I just found it really interesting, just the whole sort of like the politics behind it all as well.
See, another MC I'd like to just give a mention, because his album almost got in.
Are you cheating, Mr. Pyestar? Are you cheating?
No, because it's related to this, who I think was a big influence on all those Good Life Cafe MCs was Divine Styler.
Okay.
And he was one of the ones that sort of started that scene, him and Pyestar and people like that.
He's amazing, MC, him.
Yeah.
There was one MC from, I think, New York, and everybody knew him, but you don't really know much about them, like, as in music-wise. I might do, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head now. I'll have to watch the documentaries again. There was somebody that they all knew and everybody knew about, and I have heard of him, but I don't know much about them from a sort of like recording point of view. You know what I mean? He's somebody I've heard of, but I
that's getting back to that sort of Godfather Don and Percy P thing, isn't it?
Where yes.
They're like underground legends, but never got to put much music out hardly.
This guy had a record. He had some kind of shop, like a clothing shop or something like that. He was sitting there when he got interviewed, and I can't remember his name. But he went to the Cypher and he smashed it. Unreal it was. But I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It'll come back to us anyway. So yeah, it was interesting. Okay.
So what's your favourite tune off that album?
I'll tell you, that was the hardest choice to pick a favourite tune off out of all of them, I think. I'm going to go for Heavyweights. It's like their sort of posse cut.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because it's got a really chunky. It's also got, because Cockney Dyer was one of my. He's on the Divine Styler album, and like a ragga MC sort of, well, that Sing J sort of reggae style.
Yeah.
He's one of those again that I don't think ever got recorded enough. He was just on the odd tune by other people, so I love Heavyweights because
actually listen to that one.
Kill it on that, and it's also got him on and a couple of others, and yeah, massive.
Okay.
I listened to that one last week because I'm sure Chrome picked that one as his favourite as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was his favourite song off there.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the Hot Potato remix on the 12 is really nice as well. That's another killer.
Good
okay,
stuff.
Nice one.
It's all good.
If it's a non-skipper, it's a good album.
Yeah.
Cool. So before we go to your last choice, do you want to tell us a little bit about? Obviously, Riddler's got a T-shirt behind him. We were both holding up these mugs. Yeah. Okay.
I forgot you both got a mug, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got a mug. I've got a face mask. What else have I got? I got some stickers off you. Also, we had Christmas cards last year, Riddler, didn't we?
Yeah. Very kindly done some
Christmas Vinyl Vandals Christmas thing, didn't I?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Okay, and we'll hopefully we should be coming back to you this year to get some more. Because God knows everybody needs some Christmas cheer, so we need to think about one for this year, Riddler. I think we should talk about that this weekend. Yeah, about getting some Christmas cards designed for our friends. And Riddler got me a badge last year. Remember Riddler the badge?
Yeah, that was I tell you where I give you that. That was at one of the sidewalk Christmas parties.
Yes. Christmas parties, that's right.
I can't remember. I think it was just one of the characters. It wasn't one of the MC ones. It was just one of the B-boy characters.
But actually, talking about that, we need some characters for the Vinyl Vandals. I think it would be nice to have.
He's working on it. He's working on it.
Nice. That's a nice surprise. Merry Christmas to us. So, how many are you making? More than one character? Or are you making four? Like, as in the four of us? Or are you just making one character?
No, I was doing the four of you in one little.
All right, nice one. Even better. Yeah. Well done, Riddler. Good stuff. Good
it's
crack.
Looking a bit, the Charlie's Angels logo where they've all got one to each side and one in the middle. It's a bit like that, yeah.
As long as I'm Charlie, they can be the Angels. Nice one. So, how long have you been doing this for? Is your sort of like your hustle?
A long time, but only I've always had a fixation with the clothes. Love hip hop clothing.
Yeah,
and that's open my wardrobe here, you'd see how much I love it. Got a thing for that old clothing, graph t-shirt. So I used to do hand painted and airbrushed t-shirts when I was probably about 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
For people, and I've just always carried on with that a little bit. But then it was only the last, I'd probably say 10 years, but probably longer than that now, you know. And I started making the belt buckles. Have you seen the belt buckles I used to?
Yeah, I think I have.
Okay.
I have.
And that just sort of took off big time, you know. I've made Bismarck here belt buckle.
I saw the picture. I saw
that.
I saw that.
I've made Cars about buckle. I've made Phil Most about buckle. Oxygen's had one.
Nice.
Said G wanted one. It's like I haven't done his. MC Duke's wife messaged me on eBay, and she wanted me to make the MC Duke logo.
Wow.
MC, and with the shield in the middle, and actually made that for MC Duke. I made the hard noise buckle for AJ.
Yeah.
The loads, but I've probably made about.
You've actually made a necklace. A necklace for Catherine. Cat. It had cat on. I should have got it out.
Yes, I remember doing that. Yeah.
It's nice.
Susie Q. I've done the Cookie Crew buckles as well.
Nice one.
Susie was right. She was one of my best customers. Susie. She had all sorts.
It's funny, isn't it? Because do you remember back in the day when that used to be a big thing, the big buckles? Do you remember that?
Yeah, because I loved them. That's why I started making one. And that goes right the way back to school at a project in, I can't think what they used to, design and realisation, where you had to design something and make it. And then we went into, like, you got to make something from brass. Yeah. And that's what I made myself. I made myself the old school sort of framed buckle. So even back to when I was like 14, 15, that was there, and then just carried it. I can't find one.
Because I think I got one back in the day. I can't remember what I used to call myself, but I got one. It 5-star General, whatever it was called. Is it 5-star General?
Yeah. 4-star. 4-star.
4-star.
4-star.
Hold on, I'm rummaging now.
Okay. Rummaging.
My one's not very good. I can't even remember where I got it from. The letters move around. It's not.
Yeah, that's it.
Get the
they used to clip in, didn't they? Those I couldn't afford. They were a fortune, weren't they? From 4-star General. It was something like 25 quid for the frame, and then £10 a letter or something. I had no chance of getting that. So it's like, so I just made one. Look crap compared to one of them. And now I can't do. I did actually make, because I just used to all mine. I haven't got it. I can't find one. You know, should be one. I've got one on, but it's just letter P.
Yeah.
That's like my everyday buckle sort of thing.
That's what Catherine's little like pendant looks like, that sort of style. It's really good. Really good.
Hold on.
Get them on.
There's mine.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent.
Good stuff.
And that just basically, I was doing them, made loads for them. It got me a lot of recognition for doing them. But the time to do them
takes a long time.
It's all hand cut. It's actually all drilled out and hand cut, and it was killing my fingers basically. The timing I was getting started, because I work in metal at work anyway, but doing all the needle filing to get the shapes of these, and it was like I can't carry it. I still get people now asking, "You're going to go back into making buckles?" So as I was doing the buckles, I started painting caps and things like that, and then that's just all progressed to all the other stuff. I just love making stuff.
Was that one of your T-shirts as well? Is it that you're wearing?
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Slick Rick.
Slick Rick, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to put the one on that Riddler's got behind him, and I couldn't find it, but I'm glad I didn't there. Look, because he's got that one on it. So need to.
All about fresh.
So what's that? Is that a mixture of like a B-boy and a Star Wars character, I take it?
Yeah. Got the shell toes on, Fred. You cannot see them. He's got the shell toes on them.
I respect the shell toes. I respect the shell toes in the cap. I respect the cap.
Mickey Mouse coming soon. Shell-toed up Mickey Mouse in a tracksuit with a ghetto blaster.
Nice.
That's on the way. Just in the drawing for that.
Okay then, thanks for that. We'll come back a bit more about your artwork and stuff in a second. But for now, can we go to your last album, please?
Yeah, Sophia Boxcar Sessions.
Right.
And so, I know Chrome, we've got another thing in common with this. I don't know if he picked that.
You'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah.
What I would say before you start talking about it is I'd never even heard of this guy at all.
So, I hadn't.
You know, I'm amazed people haven't, to be honest.
So I went and checked them out on Spotify, and I whacked it on when I was doing my work this afternoon. I was like, this is some good shit. This is all right. He reminded us somebody, and I can't think who it is. Is it? I was trying to think before that I was having me tea afterwards because I listened to it a few hours ago, like 3 hours ago. Is it Gangstar or something like that reminds me of? I can't put my finger on it.
That's who it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Heard it. It's very boom bap in that sort of premiere sort of beats as well. It's really good. Like I did listen to it before.
What do you think about that?
I'm not a Gangstar fan, that's the thing, but I love Sophia stuff.
Right, okay, interesting.
That's what people shoot me down for. I'm not a Guru fan. He was a bit monotone for me. I don't like that flat.
Right.
Interesting, because I would say maybe I'm wrong because I've only listened to it once, and with me I need to listen to stuff. But I was right to rack my brains. Who were you reminding me of? And I was thinking it sounds like Gangstar to me. It sounds like Guru. And the beats like Riddler says probably a bit prem, but maybe I'm wrong. You know.
So I think with Sophia though, he's got that actually, especially as an MC, if you listen to his style, you never know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
So no, I really don't like I said before, I like something different. And Sophia, even line to line, you can't guess what structure the next line to the last one's going to be in. He's got a lot of stop-start, sort of a lot of that where he'll not finish the sentence, but he'll finish on beat halfway through a sentence, and then he continues it with a little pause afterwards, and it's got a lot of this sort of stop-start style to it, and then he'll babble a couple of lines straight off real quick after doing this sort of stop-start style and that. And I don't know, again, I just think it's a different style.
Okay.
He was on Exhibit's first album as well.
Was he?
Plastic Surgery. He was on Exhibit's first album, Plastic Surgery, and he was on a lot of Digital Underground stuff.
Okay.
As well, same time as Tupac. I think he actually started like Tupac together. They were Digital Underground's dancers.
Right. Okay.
Sophia and Pac both started there.
So I take it he's a West Coast MC then.
He's Bay Area.
Yeah, right.
Bay Area, because he had a big battle with on Casual's first LP, and that's how that started. You know, Casual out of Hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
There's a skit, but it's not a skit. It's like a 1.5 minute long tune on there that's just Sophia rhyming, because Casual really liked Sophia. He let him have a little thing to debut him on his album.
Right, okay, yeah.
And everyone liked it, and it's my favourite track on the Casual first album. That's like beef between them, because everyone was saying like that Sophia track's the best track on your album. So, Sophia, there's a not Stretch and Bobby. Oh, what are they called? The ones that do the freestyle radio shows in LA.
Sway and Tech.
Sway and Tech. It's on one of their albums actually, where they had all the freestyles on. And there was a live battle down the phone between like Hieroglyphics crew, Souls of Mischief against Sophia, and it was all of them versus Sophia, and Sophia won. It's like that Casual album thing. He's actually in a wheelchair now. Shock G paid loads and loads to try, and he fell off an aeroplane, Sophia, and did something to his back.
Wow.
He survived a plane crash, jumped off the plane. He was the first one off, and he landed on a, they get those big airbeds up to save them. Wasn't fully inflated, and he hit the floor. Hit his back up, and then I can't remember. It's about 4 operations he's had to try and fix his back. But he was living almost rough with someone, and then Shock G found out, because Shock was a really old friend, and Shock G actually went there and took him to hospital and paid for all his medical treatment to try and get him on his feet again. Wow. And hasn't worked.
Yeah, mate.
sad story.
So I was just gonna ask you. So what's happened to him? You know, like, and obviously you just answered that. That's why he's never really done anything else since then.
He has done stuff since. He's done a few trials, and he did Hobo Junks in his crew. There was another album with them not that many years after, and then I can't think what the other. He did an album later on as well, 2 or 3 albums, late 90s, early 2000s. So he has done other things. Okay. One of them again that's a massive in my view, but has never got that exposure he deserved. Never got as big as he should. It's on the Street Fighter soundtrack as well with Ras Kass and Ahmad, and that's an amazing tune. That is.
Right. Okay, some more homework for me, but yeah, I did quite like him on. He's on, like I say, he's on Spotify, and I thought, well, I was just sitting because I was going through on my break, and when I came off my break this afternoon, I said, right, what I'll do is I'll put the music on as I'm working on this report that I'm doing, and I was like, oh, this is quite good. This, like, you know, who's this? And I was just scrolling through, having a look at some of his other stuff and that, and I was like, okay, definitely need to check this guy out. And like I say, I was
done about 3 albums, I think.
What's that?
Done about 3 albums.
Right, I think there's at least 2 on the Spotify. Maybe there is 3. But yeah, I just thought I need to check them out a bit more closely, and I'll probably play them over the weekend when I'm driving around. I'll go in shops and that. I'll whack them on again just so I can
listen to the Hobo Junction as well. That's his crew. It's got all of them on.
Hobo Junction.
Hobo Junction, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Their album's really nice.
Get that written down as well. Hobo Junction.
Looks as though he's got about 4 or 5 albums. Yeah, like.
Okay.
Trigonometry.
Yeah, so he did do some later on that I didn't really.
Yeah. The hit list.
The beats weren't very good on some of the later ones.
Okay. Right. So that's your 5. So just to go back to you, this is your way you sell yourself now before we finish. Where can people get a hold of your stuff?
Off me.
Yeah,
I've got an Etsy shop and I've got some stuff on eBay.
Right.
If you knock me up on Instagram or Facebook, you'll always get a much better deal.
Yeah, so what are your handles on Facebook? I can see you're very good at selling, so I'll sell for you.
Just Pyestar, yeah. I'm crap at selling myself. Instagram, go on Instagram, search Pyestar. You'll get photos of nearly everything I do.
So that's okay. I'll do it. So that's Pyestar, Pyestar on Instagram, and Dave Pyestar on Facebook. Do you also have a group or a page on Facebook as well called Pyestar?
I do, but I don't really use it much.
Fair enough.
If you mention selling anything on Facebook without paying them for advertising, it don't go anywhere.
It's not taxing you.
It's a strangled thing that just doesn't happen. If you notice, when I put a photo of something new I've done or some new product or something in the actual little write-up above it on the actual status write-up, I very rarely write available for sale. Price, put a pound sign, because as soon as you do any of that, that post disappears out of everyone's view.
Yeah.
So honest, it's just, and on my Instagram you can get a link to my Etsy shop as well.
Right. Okay.
But everything's more expensive on there because they take VAT out of it, so I have to put the prices up to get rid of the VAT.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is wrong.
Like I say, I've bought a couple of things off you. More recently, obviously, I got my face mask, keep myself safe from COVID. I got, which is by the way, everybody's asking where I got my face mask from. Even people around the hippity hoppers are like, "Oh, that's cool." When DMC's on there and Al Cool J's on there, yeah, they're liking a bit of that. So people are asking us that. I bought
something this week.
Love me cup. Even my wife, who's not a hippity hopper, was asking where I got my cup from.
A hippity hopper.
So yeah, definitely, shout out there because it's been stuff.
Actually,
go on.
The wild style face masks. I've got one of those with the Public Enemy and Run DMC and that on. I've kept a street one. I've kept a wild style one because I just like them. So it's I end up keeping myself one. Same with the tees. I keep nearly every one. But when I got my wild style one on, I've had like workers at Tills and Lidl, Morrison's, everywhere. Like, oh, God, love your face mask. That's a that's the #1 face mask. It's always an old style one.
Definitely.
Have you seen the Louis Vuitton ones, the new ones?
No.
Oh, you'll love them, Fred.
I'm not a Louis Vuitton fan. I'd rather.
No. Wooey.
Yeah, I have seen them.
It's the Louis Vuitton pattern. Yeah. But instead of having the LV on, it's got the Wu-Tang symbol.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Like, I know people are like it and all that, but it's just it's a bit too jiggy for me. So I'll give that a miss.
And of course, you've got. I was saying I bought something this week from him.
What did you get this week?
The cushion covers.
Oh.
I should have brought some up, shouldn't I? I've got all that downstairs and I haven't brought it up.
All right. Send us a picture, Riddler, but I know I'll get shot because Whitey will not be liking that one. Like, what's on your cushion cover, like?
It's. I'll let Dave tell you. Sell it.
It's you got 88 and 89, and it's all the not all of, but it's a lot of classic albums covers from 1988 on the one pillow and 1989 on the other pillow.
Oh,
so you got
nice.
Like Audio 2, Nation of Millions.
You've went silent. Put your microphone back on.
It's just my mom.
Yeah, so what were you saying there? You went off because you went silent. So you've got one.
My mom was trying to phone me.
All right. So you've got one with like sort of like 1 year on and one with another 8 year on. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I'm going to carry those on, and they fill the whole cushion, and it's just. I mean, I think it's 16 albums on each cushion.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Cover. They're just normal square covers. So I've
tried how much are they gone out for? Can you disclose that?
£12.
That's very reasonable.
Or I do a deal on 2.
Okay. Are you going to do a UK version as well?
I will do a UK one as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I might do some whole albums as well. And it's a new thing. The mate who does all the printing.
Yeah.
He's had the cushion covers for a while, but his printer wouldn't go big enough to fill the whole thing. So I've been waiting. Now he's got a new printer, so it's like, hey, finally I can get the cushions done.
So you can get caps off you.
The older ones, and then there'll be some 90s ones and things like that as well.
So you can get caps off you.
Yeah.
You can get mugs off you. T-shirts off you.
You've got these as well, the MCM.
Yeah. Badges.
Mugs, badges, T-shirts.
Caps.
Custom trainers.
No belt buckles, because that's it.
We've painted a pair of high heels. Anything that any surface I'll paint on. So if you want it painted, I can do it.
Handy to know, though. Handy to know.
We've got the Zippo petrol lighters coming soon as well, printed on.
Yeah.
Different stuff on as well.
Do you do trainers?
Whiskey flasks as well.
Okay.
Those soon.
What about trainers?
Trainers, yeah. I can paint trainers. Done loads of trainers.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Julia love them whiskey flasks for a rum.
Yeah, for a rum.
What you sneaks into bars in a handbag.
That's what they're for, isn't it? That's the whole point of a whiskey flask.
Stop grassing people up, Riddler. Snitch.
I mean, Howie, what's this in the bar? It's a good one.
I was trying to hide your cough if you got COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. Come to the end now. Just going to wrap it up. Thanks very much for being our guest. It's been an honour to have you on. Obviously, checked your stuff out for a while now. Riddler introduced us to you, which is what hip hop's all about. Riddler was telling us about you, showed us stuff that you've been doing, like T-shirts that he's got off you, and like the Christmas tree, the Christmas cards that we got, the badges that he's given a couple of years ago as well. So he was my first introduction to you, and I think that's what I love about hip hop. People's always, like you've just done tonight, you've just educated me on some hip hop that I didn't know about, that I'm going to go and check out. And that's what it's about. It's each one teach one, as they say. You pass it on, I'll pass it on, and if I like it, then I'll be telling somebody else about it as well. So now when I'm going to work in places like that, when I'm going shopping to Sainsbury's and people are saying to me, I like your face mask, I'm telling them where to go and get it from. you know what I mean? So I think that's important as well. And we just got to keep sharing.
Yeah.
So, are you got any last words, dear, before we go?
No, apart from thank you very much for having me on here.
Not a problem. I have a question for you. Will you come on again in the future and do your UK top 5?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
Nice one.
Good luck. You got anything to say? What's up, sorry?
Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's part of the hip hop culture, and it's great, you know. Like, this is a good thing about the UK hip hop, like
community.
Yeah, community. Everybody does something, and everybody likes to share it around, and everything is basically really good, I think. In this like underground hip hop community,
I think the UK scene, especially us old boys and that are still here. When we went to New York, we were amazed that that's lacking over there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we've got a really, really good network here. We're really still into it, and a lot of people doing different stuff. It's like all the music coming out, specific stuff and criminal inspired. Yeah. There's a lot of good music coming out here still that's still in that vein. Yeah. And it's like we went to the. I'm not going on too much now. We've got time for this.
Yeah, go on. We have got time. Of course,
2013 to the 40th anniversary party in Zulu Nation, which was in quite a smallish club, a massive place in Harlem.
Yeah.
And you had like Ultramagnetic MCs were playing there, the full crew. Public Enemy were playing there. Ice-T played there. It was over 2 or 3 nights. I think it was 2 nights actually. You had some like amazing. Yeah, Grand Wizard Theodore was playing. There was like groups like Rockmaster Scott's old MCs, the Dynamic 3, people like that. And we were absolutely amazed. Sarah Rock was there. She was absolutely amazing. She's just got a new album out. We were amazed that most of the people there were British or European.
Well, fans.
It's a very small show of actual New York people. Most of the New York people that were there, like Large Pro was there as a spectator. Yeah. Deputy, people like that, Grandmaster Kaz, they're all there as spectators. But there weren't any of the old New York heads. None of the New York fans there. They were all into new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas we're still showing, and I think that's why a lot of people come over here to tour. A lot of the old school acts come over to Europe and to the UK to talk. So we've still got that scene, and we're still keeping it going on that scene.
And some of them are living across in the Europe now as well.
Yeah.
They find it more lucrative to live here than it is to live in America. So
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donald D lives over. He lives over in France, doesn't he? Like Lord Jazz does. There's quite a few.
KRS-One.
Yeah. I'm going to mention him.
Yeah.
Munch, Pharaoh Munch, does he live over here?
I don't know about him, but I know. What's he called again?
Guru the Damager. Yeah, he lives.
Yeah. Sarah X, and even if they don't live here, they live here quite a bit. Like Sarah X and from Artifacts.
Elder
Sensi, and also Master Ace. You know, they're all across here most of the time in Europe than they are in America, you know.
That's why, you see, because if they tour in America, no one goes to see them.
Yeah.
Which I find criminal and unbelievable. That's why we were shocked over there. Because they tour here, they still get a good crowd, good reception.
Yeah.
I think it's because New York, they're so used to that much hip-hop. It's not like over here where you get like a certain amount. It's just saturated in New York, isn't it? Just absolutely.
Yeah, everyone likes the new stuff. They all like this new stuff that we're not so into. It's like less. When we went down the Bronx painting graffiti and that down up North Bronx there, then what they were playing in their cars was like 89 and 88 stuff and early 90s stuff and proper hip hop. But then we did find a lot of the others were just into this more commercial, newer sound that's about now.
Well, like I keep saying, each to their own. I don't like it, so I don't buy it, and I don't really talk about it. It's just, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's over there. if you want your teeth, you know, in the words of Black Sheep, you can get with this or you can get with that. And I get with this and I don't get with that. That's it for me, you know, as far as I'm concerned. I don't really run my mouth off about it. I'll have a joke with some of the youngins that I work with or like in my family. I'll say, what's that rubbish you listen to, just as a bit of a joke. But I actually don't care anymore. I'm sick of like hating on it. It's like, I don't like it, so I don't buy it, and it's not my world. So if it's not my world, I don't see it or hear it. So I'm fine with that.
I hate it. No.
Yeah.
It's a different world, like you say, it's a different world to what we're in, and it's and it's actually made to make money, as in what they want to hit, whereas what we listen to was never made to make a hit a lot of the time.
And when they did make money out of it, it's when it started getting spoiled in it. From what we know, that's when some of it started getting spoiled. You know, when money started getting thrown at it. What you were saying before about when it changed, like 90s and stuff, and it's all of a sudden, you know, late 90s, and it started going into that 2000 stuff and that, and then all of a sudden it was like, what's this? This is what we signed up for, and we realised that we're being had. You know, I think a lot of us, you know, I'm speaking for myself here anyway. We got seduced by it all, and before we knew where we were, hip hop, you know, or rap music in itself had went somewhere else. You know, and we'd run away from the other elements. We'd run away from breakdance, and we'd run away from graffiti. And hip hop wasn't where we left it. You know what I mean?
And they wanted the MC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's all they wanted. Yeah. A bit like these groups, when you got the groups and then they take the singer out of it and make them go solo.
Yes, yeah.
Then you got to pay one person, and that's that front person that they want represent. That's why Tupac was so big, isn't it? Good look. All the girls liked him. Well, I wouldn't say he's the best MCs in the world. He's good, but
no. Well, you know, I always say this, and people, you know, I think people start hating on him because he's a symbol of when things changed. And I think, like you've said, because he was good looking and because he was a rebel and all of that. But you know, I like his first two albums. I think they're class. You know,
I'm not saying he's bad. It's like, but
no, I get you.
He was a saleable figure. That's what they. That's what they saw.
And he died young. So, you know, it's one of them as well. He probably would have fizzled out if he was still alive. He wouldn't have been probably as big as he's become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's from them. They get bigger afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we've been spoilt over the past couple of months, though, with new stuff coming from the USA.
We have, but I think
Public Enemy, Paris, Arrested Development. That was a good one. That was a surprise to me how good that was.
Okay, I'm calling it an end now because we're going over our time. Like all good hip hoppers, we can talk forever, but I think we need to shut it down now. So thanks very much, and we'll definitely be giving you a shout in the future to come do your part 2. Really appreciate that. Don't forget, Riddler every Monday night on MixLR on Method Radio. Don't forget, once a month, me and John, we do this thing called the 7 Bridges Mix Show. Watch out for us when COVID starts disappearing a bit more. You'll see us venturing out a bit more, trying to do shows, warming up for people and stuff like that, as much as we can. Watch out for this as well when COVID goes, because me and my son, I've just been talking again tonight about trying to get this back on the road, which is a trainer detective. We like to go and snoop around people's cupboards and have a look at their trainers, and let people talk about their favourite trainers, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again. Obviously, COVID permitting. So we've got
with their permission, by the way.
With their permission,
just sneak into the house.
Without their permission, we don't care as long as the window's left open.
Should work from a wardrobe, isn't it?
And on that note, we are the Vinyl Vandals. Thanks very much for listening to us. If you want to get in touch with us because you've got something to talk about your favourite 5, and also I'm opening this up there as well. You might want to talk about your favourite 5 trainers because we'd love to have you on while COVID's on. We can't go and do the snooping around. We can do it via Zoom. Just pick your favourite 5 trainers. I have that. I have those exact same trainers.
5 colours of those.
It's goodbye from me.
Yeah. Goodbye from me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Peace, everyone.
Get yourself some Christmas gifts in. Hit Pyestar up.